Another beautiful Wednesday morning within the Federation. I was saying Christopher Nevis. No. It's January 12th, 2022 edition of Voices with your host King Socrates. I begin by saying good morning to all the beautiful folks within SKN, sharing and enjoying my slice of paradise, as I call St. Kitts Nevis. Of course, we begin at home, then extending to the rest of the world, to our nationals living abroad, friends of the Federation, just about everyone. From the studios of WinFM 98.9 on the FM dial, we are wishing you a most wonderful day. Welcome to another episode of Voices. My name is King Socrates, your host, and along the way you might hear a little... No, Sharon, it is not COVID. And I want to say good morning to you, my beautiful engineer. I've not seen you for 2022. Is it the first time? Yeah, I've been missing for a minute, so I am back in the studios today. And, of course, Voices is a platform where members from the public can call in with opinion, suggestion, just about any topic to discuss, add to the national discourse, as long as we keep it civil, respectful, and it's all about building good vibes in the Federation and beyond. As I said, I've been missing for a minute, so I'm not really off with all the hot topics going on. If I may, though, share some information. There is at the moment going on a symposium for musicians and creative in the Federation. It's done under the umbrella of the Ministry of Education, Entertainment, Development. Let me see if I can find the information here. And it was a late notice given out to, I would say, creatives. And if I may read, it says, Impact Justice will be offering copyright sensitization training via Zoom for representatives of the music industry, small businesses, and manufacturers. The training program will consist of live sessions, of which the first will commence on January 12th, 2022 at 10 a.m. That's just about an hour ago. If you're interested in sharing in the training, kindly inform us immediately so that we can make the necessary arrangements, and the numbers given. 467-1037, 467-2325. That's for the creative, songwriters, musicians, entertainers in general who want to take part in a training session. I'll read once again. Impact Injustice will be offering copyright sensitization. And this is very important because a lot of us who are in the industry don't really see to documenting our music properly. This is a way where you can monetize your talents. So, offering sensitization training via Zoom for representatives of the music industry, smaller businesses, manufacturers. Training program will consist of 5 sessions, the first of which begins today at 10 a.m. And your contact numbers, if you wish to get in touch with the Ministry of Entertainment, Entrepreneurship, etc. 467-1037, 467-2325. I want to say good morning to the usual suspects, the folks who normally logged on Voices, trying to keep abreast of what's happening within the Federation. Let me reach over to Anguilla and say good morning to Zara, Cleo, and Amber, and folks who are normally logged on from over there. Here in SK and just about everybody. Want to say it's the 12th day of 2022. And for many persons, the year would have started off very positively and, good vibes, etc. For some, it was not so, they had some sad news, some bereavement. So for those who are still, bereaved from the loss of loved ones, etc., we, of course, commensurate with you from WinFM. Those who are celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, special events, of course, we share that with you. It's a world where is, a little give and take. Some days happy, some days sad. But I would say generally 2022 has started off for the majority of persons in SKN and, on a very positive note. As we move forward, we are easing, one would say, out of the dark shadows of COVID, even though the Omicron variant has been making its rounds. The more education we get, more we can adopt a lifestyle of enable us to live with COVID, as this is now the reality, right? I would also like to commend all public servants, those in the civil service, those in the public, those who are at the forefront of, doing businesses with the public, those who have good customer service practices. We want to say thanks to you, and we hope that this could rub off on your peers. You set a good example, others would follow. We know there are many complaints about persons who go to business places, both public, in the public sector and private sector, and have very negative experiences. And people speak to me often, when you go on Winifred, you have to talk about this establishment, how they treat the public there, etc. It's a very, very serious malady that affects a lot of people around the world. I can speak of one experience a few weeks ago when I went to a certain business place to get some medication. And there was a queue, and a sign says, wait until you're called. From where I was standing to the left of me, the sign said, wait to be called next, or a word to that effect. And there was a customer ahead of me at the counter, and it appears that two persons were dealing with him. Fine. So I waited. We were about 5 minutes, and the queue behind me was building. And then the gentleman left. There was no one at the counter, but I'm looking at the sign, wait to be called next. So I'm waiting. A lady from behind the queue went forward and asked a question about a certain medication. And there and then they started to attend to her. And I said, this is ridiculous. And I walked away. I actually walked away. So I can relate to this experience where many persons would have had at various levels dealing with persons in public business establishments. And the attitude is this, well, you have to wait. They make you feel like you're begging them. It's not that you're pompous, you're waiting based on what they said to be served next. And they ignore you. I know a lady, she left the cashier desk and went inside. Maybe she had a phone call to make, but I waited, I observed. And when there was no one at the counter, I'm still waiting. Another person is checking whatever, but nobody addressed us. This person from the back went to ask a question about a certain medication, and then they started to attend to her. And I made my remark known. They said, this is ridiculous, and I walked away. So, for those serving the public and have good customer service practices, we want to thank you. We want you to encourage your coworkers and those who would be working in the same environment as you to understand the public. Sometimes people come there, and they may not have the best approach. You may not know what's happening with them, but it's your job, it's your training to try to soothe that situation. How may I help you? And you take it from there. If a person, of course, is being rude and belligerent, you don't have to take that. But initially, you're the one who have to set the tone. Not because you're dependent on the business that the public is bringing to you, but is the right thing to do. Customer service, good customer service is a thing that, from lacking in many of the establishments here, both in the private and business sector, and we can only hope that that service improves, whether by way of training. Some people drop cold into a job situation with no training, but because of their personalities, it works beautifully. Others don't have the patience, the understanding, and I think that training is required. So that's one of the topics I would like to expound on today. For folks who want to call in, the numbers to call 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989, I'm going to have to go refer to my notes to find the numbers for the overseas line. As I said, I've not been here for a minute. But that's my story for starters, and I'm going to stick to it. And we go to the public for a call at the moment. Thank you, caller. You're live on Voices.
Greetings, my king.
And I was just thinking to myself, well, I've been absent for a minute. I haven't heard from my friend Johnny for a while. Welcome back to the Airways. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Not too bad for old man. Glad to hear your voice.
Boy, we are getting there fast. Let me greet everyone listening to the sound of my voice today. The king, this morning I want to go back on something that I have touched on last year, and that is the first historic African Caribbean summit that was held by the African leaders and leaders of the Caribbean.
Okay.
I want to touch on COVID, WTO, and some other aspect that
Okay, until we have a next caller, I'm going to let you run because you touched 3 topics, so get into them if you can.
Yes, I'm going to try and be brief.
Thank you.
Now, I think last year, America had agreed that the African continent should now manufacture their own vaccine. But here's the kicker, and kudos to Joe Biden for acknowledging such movement for the African continent. 60 of the ingredients that are on the African continent are under embargo. The question here we need to ask ourselves now, why? Why should 54 countries in Africa, maybe 55, why should 54 countries on the African continent require permission to produce anything with its own resources for development for its people? Why do we need to get permission
from
to
the
develop
WTO?
What we need for our own people? And the king, may I hasten to say that we are aware of what has happened last year to John Pombe Magufuli, the president of Tanzania. Now, are we going to remain silent? Bob Marley have asked this question for, let me say, all of his life. How long should we stay silent and allow a United Nations who are silent, who choose to remain silent of the plight of Africans globally? While Joe Biden may have, the American government has agreed that Africa should now move towards manufacturing its own vaccines, 60 of the ingredients of those vaccines that are within the African continent are under embargo. The strategy and the design that they have created for... am I on?
Yes, you are. I'm listening to you.
Yes. Why should we get permission to manufacture our own resources for our own people? Now, this misery is sickening. It is sickening to today that we have to come. We are more than the United Nations.
But they are the official governing body.
Well, you see, the thing we need to do, we need to start looking within ourselves.
And one of the things you said the United Nations, you started with united. They are. We are not. Until we get to that level.
That's the thing, the king. There are, I think it's just 47 countries, the United Nations. I stand to be corrected. But we are 54 countries, and one might say 55. Why should we have to unite with them? Let us unite with ourselves. The king, they divided us for a reason. And this is what I want our people to wake up to. This is a global issue that affects Africans globally. We don't need them, they need us. And they've been exploiting
you know
us
that
for
the
decades.
efforts among certain nations to unite, but until you have that across a platform, you're going to have the divide and rule policy still governing. As I said,
Yes,
the WTO is a governing body. They recognized governing body that determines
We have been divided for decades. We need to change this
beyond
misery, this
decades.
narrative, and this design that is placed upon. Let me tell you something that I've learned last
We've
year.
been designed for
King.
centuries, not decades.
Okay. Let me tell you something that I have learned. You know, we have Western Union here, we have MoneyGram. If you are an European in any European country, need to send money to any part of Europe, you're sending it free of charge. Any Africans in Europe and America, anywhere in the world, send money back to any Africans globally, they are being charged.
Exploited. I was unaware of this, but I can understand the exploitation.
But the king, that's what I'm saying. This is the 21st century. 400 years of slavery has expired. We need to change this misery.
Take this
Because
fact,
design
take this figure.
is on Africa and Africans for their own survival. We have to stop it. It must be stopped. It cannot continue. Now let me move to something very quickly, and
Okay.
this is about human trafficking. And I'm referring this to the Arab world today, where our African women, African leaders are signing for Africans to leave Africa to go to the Arab world to work, to send back remittance, and only when they get there, if as they enter the airport, the point of arrival is completely different to where normal,
Anticipated.
where human being would arrive, and their documents are being confiscated from them right there at the airport. We need to raise concern, the king.
But you here in Sync is not that. What about the countries that are signing the documents for their
I'm
people to go to?
asking the same question because, you know, I'm using the story, and you and I know of the story of the Joseph. Joseph's brother sold him into Egypt, into slavery. And this is the question that I'm putting over on social media. Joseph's brother sold him as a slave into Egypt, and he became the governor that turned around and saved his own brothers from the famine. That's why I'm saying that the Bible story is our reality today. What happened to those Africans, Americans in the diaspora with the finance, and why are they silent? Why are they not letting their voices heard to save their brothers and sisters from the exploitation of the West and the human trafficking that is taking place in the Arab world? I mean, yes, our leaders on the African continent, they are corrupt. Not all of them, because whenever one stand up to build his country, he's being assassinated. John Magufuli was assassinated last year among 4 others, and a king. Now, had that been any white leader of the West, what would have been taking place in the world today, the king? We need to wake up and let our voices be heard. That's all I am saying. There's not time now for us to remain silent. Our voices must be heard and change must come.
Well, I want to thank
The
you.
scriptures are being fulfilled. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. We have to return to the source, return to the root, and let your voice be heard. Thank you for hearing me, the king.
Thank you so very much. And I want to commend you on letting your voice be heard over and over again, because you have been consistent with your message about our people needing to unite. One of the things you mentioned, that the governor or the people in charge of that particular are those countries in Africa that are signing for the people to go to Arab to work, to work, and then the whole thing changes into human trafficking. They would be aware of that. So the protests must come from them at that level. I appreciate what you're doing. You're trying to get the awareness out there that we need to, because there's so many things that we don't know. And when you look at the world today and why it is 1,700 of the U.S. Congressmen over 300 years were slave owners. And they were the ones drafting the legislation that governed the U.S. That is why it is in this situation. 1,700 congressmen from the 16th, 17th, 18th, even the 19th century, I would say the 20th century, were current at the time slaveholders and dabbled in the industry. So when you look at the U.S. Congress and the laws that would have passed over the years and what's happening today, even in restricting voters' rights, And this is targeting who they deem African Americans. I just say black people. You know, the amount of them that migrated from the South to the North America, the North New York, were they to go back there and vote, they would change that entire scenario because they would have the power through the vote to change Congress and the legislatures that are putting things in place to prevent the vote. So the whole question of unity, you would first have to understand and be able to relate to a narrative being played out against the vote. People died for the ability to be able to vote. And there was a reason why, because when you look at how many of the Congress, how many persons in Congress, the first female to get into Congress in the U.S., she was, in the 70s at times, she was a slaveholder. And they would draft legislation to make sure that black people were not educated. So when you have people asking how come black people, they were denied an education at the same time, they were using their resources to educate their people. So it played into the disparity. So Johnny, once again, I want to thank you for the efforts you're making. The people say, well, you're on with this African thing again, this, and that's the whole thing. We don't seem to understand how much it was designed to impact us. But be that as may, it's part of what's happening in our world today. So don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged when people bash you and, oh, you with that again. You have a message, you have a desire to see our people united and living better than we are, and for us to take control of a situation, of destiny, etc. But it's not happening overnight, but people like you will be, of course, making a difference. All right? And we now pause for a word from our kind sponsors, and we'll be back with the dialogue.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
Decided what to eat yet, hon?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to Flow.
Best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet.
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
And getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to Voices. My name is Socrates, hosting today, and we go straight to the phone lines. Caller, you're live on Voices. Good day, caller, you're live on Voices.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program, sir.
I'm looking for some clarification, right?
If I may help you, that's right.
The last call, I think he mentioned something about 40 something. Is it 40 something country? 40
yes, in Africa,
the United
speaking
Nation,
about.
or 40 something African nation that is a part of the United Nations.
He mentioned he was referring to African countries, but the United Nations are more than just the numbers he mentioned. They're more than 53 countries.
Yeah, that is right. I want, I'm looking for some clarification.
Yeah, the 100 and what?
Oh, so when he said 40 something, he means 40 something African country who is
Yes.
a part of the United Nations.
That is what he was alluding to, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You got it right, you got it right.
Yes, okay.
You're welcome. So, yes, somebody just disturbed me with a... okay, thank you for your contribution. And, yes, I was talking about a bit about customer service as it affects people in the Federation, and thanking those in the public and private sector who do a good job when dealing with the public. And we entertain the next call. Call your live on voices. We would have missed a call also. Perchance you can call back caller, please do so. We had a little technical glitch. We would like to hear what's on your mind on this beautiful Wednesday. We have a little thing with it for line here. Okay, so we'll try to take how many calls we can. For those listening, keep trying. The numbers to call 466-0989, 662-0989, and go right ahead. Call your live on voices. Good day, caller. You're live on voices.
Yes, the king, it's me again.
Yes, sir. How are you? Yeah, there was a
I
caller who was
appreciate-
seeking a correction on some figures you gave as relates to the United Nations and those countries in Africa that were trying to unite. So.
Well, I did say I stand to be corrected. I can't know everything.
No?
Now, let me say this. I
ahead.
appreciate what you said in your closing remarks to my first call, where there might be those who would say, oh, here you go again with the African thing. I really appreciate that. You know why? I have felt the pullback when on certain other hosts hosting this program. So I really appreciate you saying that. But I want to say this. Remember, Jesus told his disciples, in as much as you give unto me, I'm trying to remember what it was said there, when Jesus said to his disciples, and they asked him, Master, when saw we thee hungry, naked, and homeless? And he said, inasmuch as you do to those that are of my followers, you do unto me. And that's why I raised this story of the Joseph. Joseph, who was sold as a slave by his brothers, turned around and saved them from the famine, from hunger.
Yes.
You and I know today that there are wealthy African American in Europe and in America, and they are silent. They are silent.
They're
and
comfortable.
For me, they're going to end up like the rich man in the Lazarus story, when Lazarus was comforted while the rich man was in torment. Why? Because they remain silent. Our history is in the book. The book, it is our story, it is our reality. And this is what I want our people to wake up to. Because what is going on in the Arab world today, that I know of, the king, it would make you weep to know what our African women are suffering at the hands of Arabs. It's almost like slavery again, but more on a different scale.
It would just be a reminder for me, because I'm aware of what had happened to a people by the hands of the Arabs even before the Atlantic slave trade. But the example of Haiti, is what has a lot of people not wanting to get involved. The example that was made of Haiti that's still affecting Haitians today, because they were the ones and the first black republic in the Western Hemisphere.
Some of us don't know that it's because a black man whipped Napoleon while they're saying to us, never again will they ever allow a black man to whip the white man. We think that Americans are different to France and Germany. They're all Europeans. And that message is sending globally to all Africans that never again will you whip a white man. You
Anyway,
will never defeat the white man.
As I was saying,
again.
I commend you on the way you're keeping the fire burning. You're going to get discouraged, but continue, because it's a passion that you feel personally that you have to take to a people. I've been there in song. I understand the negative pushback against it, but don't
King,
give up.
You're still alive. You've been there. Let us join our forces together, because you divided we are defeated.
Let me
In
be
unity,
presumptuous.
We need to reestablish that, the king, more vigorously than
Let me
ever
be
before.
presumptuous, right? I want to go out on the limb and say that WinFM appreciates the calls, the many contributions of all of the callers. Whether it's popular with the public or we need people like you to call into the program. It's called Voices. And whether what you have to say is popular or not,
The king,
I believe it's
right? I
appreciated.
appreciate you saying not to be discouraged, but you know it is staggering sometimes when I get that feedback.
That's all right.
feedback, I can hear it in the voice,
That's okay.
and
That's
I
okay.
know it's there. But if I stay silent, the rocks will cry out. Let me repeat.
You
that.
have a calling, and you
If
cannot
I
let people
stay
discourage you.
silent, the rocks will cry out.
I hear you.
Thank you for hearing me.
Have a blessed day, sir. Okay, that was one of our many frequent callers, and he's consistent with this topic about African unity. Not a topic a lot of people give time or credence to, you know, and so we understand that. We understand that. Jamster, you disturbed me a while ago. About, what was the 30th of December? I've had to laugh because people come at you from many different angles about what they think they know. And in relation to that particular episode of the Calypso Final Night, I did put out a video explaining what I could to people who needed to understand what had happened. I was asked to join Voices. I came on last week, Friday, I think it was, with Sandra Query. And good morning, Sandra, wherever you are. I came on her program, and she says to me, I wanted to have you on the Friday previous to that, but I didn't think you were up to it. They would have been the day after the show. The show was the 30th, the very next Friday. And I said, I would not have minded. It would have proven the point. I had no vocals. She said, I didn't see it that way. Yeah, people need to know. I had no vocals. And as you pointed out, Jamster, I did not go on stage in the second round with any confidence. I'm in a singing competition. I have no voice. So I went on the second one because I would have signed a contract and I was obligated to at least try. And when Grove Hicks can bear me out, he came backstage, he says to me, well, Socrates, you try your best, but, and that was the whole tone. I mean, you're seeing, but you're not really feeling what it was feeling. And with the anticipation I would have had to really go, because based on the level of material I had, and you pointed out in the second round, I was not even moving around the stage. I was afraid that if I was to do so, I would end up in a coughing fit. This thing, somebody said was a chest infection. I do not know, but it floored me. Floored me. So I went to the back, and I went some motions. But I'm saying I'm satisfied with the fact, and I don't know who all the judges were, that they were determined that the little that I did was enough for me to garner those scores. So it's a foregone conclusion. Were I able to execute at the level that I had prepared for? No way they could have touched me. And then I am getting bashed continuously. And I thought I would respond this way. In the previous year, when the then monarch, well, she was not the monarch then, went on that semi-final night, the judges determined that she was out of the competition because, to use the phrase, she bust. She stopped the band, she started over again, and she bust. And she was eliminated from the competition. And they listed how many persons would have advanced. Next, they say, oops, the tabulator's made a mistake, and we can't throw up this or that person, so we have to include her in. And the people said, yeah. And she went on to win. She even sang it, I was out the Kaiso, and I was back in the Kaiso. And I'm saying, had that been me, there would be 10 courses. So you give a little and you take a little. I'm not happy that my fans were not able to see me win the crown, but it is what it is, and we move on. There you go. So these things happen, but calypso and controversy will ever be part of our existence. So I laugh a lot because what is it going to do? And we go to the lines for call. Call, you're live on Voices. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Greetings, Serene Highness.
Yes, sir. Lovely hearing your voice.
I prefer you say, brother, don't this thing, I'm not into it.
Okay. Brother,
Yes,
brethren.
brother.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, laugh at them more. Yeah?
I try to laugh with
Laugh
them,
at them.
but sometimes you have to laugh with them.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Let's hear you today.
You know, beg pardon?
Let's hear what you have to say today.
Okay. According to the Western Gregorian calendar, they say it's a new year, so all the best, my brother, right through.
We respect the eye.
And to others, you know. Give thanks. You know, me listening the conversation with the caller before me, and the song was make a lot of people don't like what is being said over and over by the caller. And you know what? It's their love. You know what come to mind is amongst a lot of people is people of our color. Yeah, people of our color. That's why we chat Nyabinghi, you know. Because Nyabinghi mean move out of the way, don't press us. Move out of the way, wicked people, no matter the color of your skin. Yeah, that's what Nyabinghi is all about.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're glad we chat Nyabinghi because you see the evil right now, the evil is beyond color right now, you know. Beyond color of skin. Evil deep.
Definitely.
Deep in the psyche of people. Yeah. Black, white, pink, yellow.
Just about everybody.
what you call it.
Every ethnicity, you're going to find it.
Yes. And we wanted to bring that to the fore. Because we can't just say, the white man. We know the white man and the other people, them.
Every
But it's
ethnicity,
important
even amongst
to know
ourselves.
Self. And to know who look like you, what they are capable of holding inside of themselves. Same evil. Same evil. We just wanted to bring that to the fore. That we got some people who look like me and you in skin. And let me tell you something, man. The evil look like they want to pass. The people that move, it will say white man, yellow man, whatever. See me?
Yes, but would you agree that even amongst ourselves in the great nations of Africa, we were never united as one? We have a cause around which we should unite. There were causes around which we should unite. But in the many great countries and nations, we were never united as one.
No, we were, you know. We were before we was introduced to sell out and, you know, before we was introduced to selling out and whole heap of things. We had that unity, man. We had that fundamental unity. That is why we was hard to be penetrated.
So then, okay, if we had that unity, how then did we engage in selling our own people?
Yeah, that, well, as I say, you know, a lot of things was introduced to us, and, you know, part of the things them that was introduced to us, it changed, not for we.
We claim to have been a great nation, educated in science and mathematics and the cultures and all the different things. So I will not buy the thing that we were innocent and didn't know what we were being told. We were complicit to a large extent. We were complicit. We were fooled to some extent. When you look at Leopold and what he did in the Congo, by getting the chiefs to sign documents in languages they didn't understand and use the power of the European gun to put those people into duress and kill and slaughter them. But to some extent, we were complicit in our own demise.
That's the point I am making. It was introduced to certain isms that We knew not. But we were introduced to the isms and God, we just embrace them in there, and it's with us up to the time, and that's the point. That's the point I'm making.
Okay.
Up to the time, we cannot even watch color skin to point out evil no more, or to point out ism, whatever the ism. It is here and there now.
Yep.
It is here and there now, and we have to always remember that. We have to always remember that when we are reasoning concerning our black nation, because it's not everyone who carry black skin. I think black and I live black.
That is true.
Right now we got people who them skin, okay, even in our midst, right now, think with me attack. You have a human being by the name of Dwyer Astafan.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of the color of his skin?
He's Syrian.
And you see the color of skin what he have?
Yeah, well, his family been here for generations, so of course.
Good.
But it's still maintained.
I'm using him as a perfect example.
Yeah.
Because you see, the man that is called Dwyer Astafan, him is more black than people some people who look like you in skin and me in skin.
Define that. We mean more black. If you're not
more
looking at
black
skin.
in his meditation, in his consciousness.
Well, okay.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Because it is beyond color, skin, you know.
Okay.
Evil penetrating in all human being, you know. And we have to recognize it. And the good is also penetrating in all human beings.
Mm-hmm.
You see me?
I see you. I hear you.
It's very important that we recognize this. Otherwise, we're going to be going around in circles. That is why His Imperial Majesty declare, until the color of skin is of no significance.
More significance than the color of his
Color of
eyes.
eyes.
There shall be what?
Yeah. War!
Okay. So it explains what's happening globally with all the talks and all the threats and what we see unfolding. Prophecy is being fulfilled. And the fact that unless the equality of mankind, is recognized, you will have friction that ends in war.
Yes.
Your spirit will rebel for a sense of equality. Once you deny that, you're going to have friction. It's as simple as that.
Yes, problem.
All right.
Where they didn't think it's Nevis and the rest of the world.
That is true.
Blessed love.
Respect. And on that note, we pause for a word from our very kind sponsors.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Decided what to eat yet, hon?
Yep, almost.
If only this was easy like when we switched to Flow.
Best decision ever. Combining our mobile with Flow Internet
Saving hundreds each month on our mobile.
and getting double data to share for up to 4 lines. My ideas are the best.
Any idea when you'll make this decision?
Yeah, soon. Switch to Flow Postpaid and sign up for internet for big mobile savings and double data as low as $80 per line. Visit discoverflow.co for details. Conditions apply.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drugstore's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
Hey, Chris Collins, what are you saying? What are you doing? And we go straight to the phone lines. Caller, you're live on Voices. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Yes, the King.
Respect.
Yes, it's Journey here again. You know, the King, I must disagree with what you said that we were never united. Because remember, and I'm going to repeat this just for your sake, that I read a letter from Lord Macaulay when he made his observation that he had never come across the unity of our people when he made his observation when he was in the geographic space of Nigeria then in 1835. Now, let us go to the Babel Tower, and I'm sure you know the story where the people were one. It was one language. The King, more and more, when you become aware of knowledge of self, we should not isolate the Bible from our African history. Because what is in the Bible is them telling us what they have done to us and what they are doing to us today. Let me repeat that.
I hear you.
What is in the Bible is them telling us what they have done to us and what they are doing to us. The Babel Tower, the people were one language, and they divided us. Yes, we were together. We were always united.
Yeah,
and
but
that's why
who created the issue with the languages so they could not understand each other? The narrative was that there were people united.
The king,
yes.
Again.
You're saying they. We have to identify, based on the same scriptures you're quoting, who created that confusion. It was designed to confuse.
Permit me to explain.
Please.
You see, because of the fact that everything, and again I'm going to say, because the word chosen and peculiar, we have gotten everything that we have today. Because those who conquer us, can you imagine you here in St. Kitts as a ruler, and you have gone to Antigua and saw something in Antigua that you don't have, but you have military power that Antigua don't have. So you envy what Antigua have, and you destroyed with your military power what Antigua have, and then you come back and tell the world that who you left in Antigua agreed to sell Antiguans to you and bring you to the New World.
We understand that.
Right.
You keep speaking about those who conquered us. You keep overlooking the role that the Arabs played. They actually conquered and enslaved many African nations.
I'm not overlooking that, the King.
So they're including those.
What I'm saying to all who have targeted us as the African race. Okay? I am speaking to all those who have came into our space, did their atrocity, their genocide to our people, and now they gave us what they... Have you ever asked yourself, you know what the scripture said about thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not hate, thou shalt not kill? Have you do an analysis and see who have done just that and are still doing that today?
We see the hypocrisy. We live the hypocrisy.
The thing is, the King, the world would be a better place without those people. The human race, let me rephrase that. The human race would be a better people without that race of people who have inserted, who have created atrocity, genocide, and they're even killing the planet. Because this African spirituality was in harmony with nature. Again, let me repeat this again. The scripture tells in the days of the Exodus out of Egypt, when there was to build an altar, God said to them, if you lift up an axe against a stone, you polluted it. Everything that comes from the planet that the Creator have created, our spirituality was in harmony with everything, the birds, the trees, the fish, everything. We were to get permission even before we have to slaughter to consume an animal. So you see, our story was hidden, and those who hid our story give us their narrative into our story. And that is what we glorify our enemy today, and we are worshiping them. We need to do what we call Sankofa in African terms. It means go back to the root, go back to the source, because what we had was established by the Creator within His firstborn, the creation, our ancestors who they have slaughtered, and we need to reconnect with what we had. You said that we weren't united. Well, we had unity, and it's because of that that's how we had, and they played with our mind. Even King Leopold, when he told the
wish you not to
missionaries,
take what I said out of context. I wasn't trying to give any picture of a disunited Africa which was exploited, and now we're talking about uniting. In the greatness of Africa and all the many tribes and nations, etc., there were conflicts throughout. It's inevitable.
Yes, the king.
Yes.
Yes, conflict will arise, but let us ask ourselves the question, because you
and
and
we warred amongst ourselves. We did that.
Well, you see, that happened. No, let me ask you this, the king. Do you think when Lord Macaulay made his observation, when he said he never come across a beggar or a thief, can you picture what that civilization was like before?
You spoke about
and
him
how
going to
long it was
Nigeria.
before Lord
Did he
Macaulay
travel?
made that observation?
Okay,
Can you picture what
let's
that was
accept.
like?
Let's accept that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
and this is not just in Nigeria alone, because there were so many different tribes. So that system must have spread throughout the whole continent.
there were civilizations that
we
they
don't know when it was before
underestimated.
1835.
Say again?
Okay? You and I don't know how long it was before Lord Macaulay made his observation on that. And that system was spread throughout the whole continent. And this is the thing that they couldn't deal with. That's why they're telling us it ain't our ancestors built the pyramid and all the fallacies that they have here. Well, we need to rewrite. That's what we're doing now. We are rewriting our own history. You ever ask yourself, why is it that we always appreciate when our story are being told by
others?
Those of different... it's a laugh. It's a mockery.
We need to get
story being told to us by our enslavers.
We need to get across the Caribbean a curriculum that deals specifically with African history in the schools. We don't have that. We're taking all of these narratives. Go ahead.
Let me finish by saying this.
I'm going to have to rush because I have a call on the line.
I'm going to rush.
Please.
If Prime Minister Timothy Harris is listening to me right now, I want to tell him, separate from the UN. Separate from the UN. Because we cannot go forward.
Caller? Okay, we haven't cut you. We have to take this call. So, caller, you're live on Voices. Good day, caller. Are you there? My apologies, Jay, but I'm trying to get this call before the midday newscast. And the lines are not really cooperating, but we need to take as many calls as we can. Your message to the PM is that he should separate from the UN. You would have to take that up with him and discuss that. But yes, the Macaulays of the world would have traveled to a region where they would have vastly underestimated, and then they're now exposed to advanced civilization, cultures. And this caller line, caller, you're live on Voices. Thanks for joining again. Go to caller. Are you there? Hello? Go to caller. You're live on Voices. Okay, we're having challenges, obviously. So the Macalays of the world would have traveled to regions in Africa which they had vastly underestimated, not anticipating what they would find. And then they're surprised, they're impressed, they're being educated from advanced civilization and cultures. Okay, let's try for this caller one more time. Caller, you're live on Voices. Good day, caller, you're live on Voices.
Good day, Socrates.
Thanks for trying again and again. Welcome to the program.
Yes. It was interesting to hear you make reference to last year's contest, in which the Queen contested.
Year before.
Oh, year before, sorry. Mm-hmm. Well, the fact that people applauded her being included in the finals, despite the mishap in the semis. Mm-hmm. And it just highlights our lack of consistency. So as you intimated, had that been you, the people would not have been as forgiving.
That's my
correct?
impression, yes.
Yes. But the same inconsistency was evident in the recent incident with the tourism minister, where we all heard what we heard and saw what we saw. Mm-hmm. Yet we have some misguided persons who want to excuse it with things like context is important and wait for the investigation and 6 ships in the harbor. You know, we need to call a spade a spade. Mm-hmm. Context is important, but not to defend obvious wrong.
Okay.
Okay? You know, even if it was provoked, you know, you don't
Bear with
react to things like that.
Bear with me. For people who don't know exactly, and I know you're going to tell me that I'm supposed to know, I really don't know. For people who don't know, can you walk us through without, getting, into any trouble as to what would have happened? We got about 3 minutes before the news. Walk us through what would have happened. Give us your impression for those who don't know.
From what I saw on the video and audio, okay, there was an altercation essentially with police officers, which should not have happened, bearing in mind the position that he holds. You know, it was bad judgment in the first place. And even he admitted it in the statement that followed. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so, what it reminded me of, actually, was the Marriott incident, where it is said that he was set up. So what? So what if you were set up? If I suspect you are a thief and I put down a sugar cake to catch you red-handed and you take it up, yes, you were set up, but you're still a thief. Similarly, we know that the record of investigations in this place, they said they're going to investigate stuff, and that's the last you hear of anything. And as for the 6 ships in the harbor, what does that have to do with this most recent incident? That's a distraction. The ships will come with or without Grant being there.
Okay?
So we should ask ourselves why these reps are called honorable. Is it not because we expect them to do the honorable thing?
Yes, on
and
that
Grant
note,
so Grant should
we now have to pause.
Honorable thing and resign.
Okay.
This is too much of a pattern of misbehavior now on his part.
So,
what do you think?
We're gonna pause now for the media newscast. We can continue the dialogue after, okay?
Okay.
I'll give you my opinion. Thanks for all the callers and the contribution. We now pause for the midday newscast. And
we're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.